Hello there. I wanted to just pop on live and let people know that our new book, here it is, IndieBirth, A Story of Radical Birth Love, is now on the Amazon Kindle store. So that's really exciting. And I was going to read a section from the book to you all in celebration that we finally have it up there as the Kindle version. We are working on getting it up as the physical version very soon. Just have a few more hoops to jump through. So, very exciting. You can go check it out. Go look it up on the Amazon store and give us some love. If you've read it, we would be so appreciative if you would leave a review there. It would be really helpful as people decide what they want to read while they're pregnant, to hear from other people about whether this is a worthy book to spend their time reading or not. And we hope that it is. So, the book, I guess I'll say a little bit about real quick, is just a compilation of a couple things. So the beginning is sort of the story of IndieBirth, where it came from, how it started, Marin's journey from being a licensed midwife to being an independent midwife. And then there are a bunch of little shorter sections, sort of going into different words that we feel really exemplify what it is we're doing here at IndieBirth. So the section I'm going to read you is the section called Unprofessional. And then interspersed with those little sections are birth stories from ourselves, our own births, and then also from women that we have served. And some photos are interspersed into those as well. So it's really fun. It's a great book for you to pass along to the people in your life who are perhaps planning on having kids or are already pregnant or have had a baby and are looking for a different perspective and looking for, just sort of some inspiration for how we might all do this a different way. So I'm going to try and hold my phone / read at the same time. So, like I said, this section is called Unprofessional, and it starts off with a quote. So the quote is, "Professionalism in medicine is nothing more than the institutionalization of a male upper-class monopoly. We must never confuse professionalism with expertise. Expertise is something to work for and to share. Professionalism is elitist and exclusive, sexist, racist, and classist." And that's a quote from Witches, Midwives, and Nurses, which is a really fantastic book people should check out as well. Okay, so I'm going to read just, I guess I'll read this whole section to you all. "I hate the word professional, at least when applied to midwifery. I agree that midwifery is a profession, at least according to this definition from Merriam-Webster, a calling requiring specialized knowledge and often long and intensive academic preparation, a principal calling, vocation, or employment, the whole body of persons engaged in a calling. But the word professional is so loaded with other meaning beyond someone in a profession. Professional means looking a certain way, acting a certain way, and generally fitting in with the dominant expectation of a worker. Code for white middle-class male worker most often. The word professional is a shorthand for superficially describing someone that you would trust to do something the right way," that's in quotes, "because they have made the right choices up until this point, the right school, the right haircut, the right clothes, the right attitude, etc. Do lawyers really need to wear suits? Does it somehow improve their skills? What about women of color feeling pressured to change their natural hair? Or women in general having to find the perfect balance of not looking too feminine, but also not looking like a man? It is all about maintaining an illusion of professionalism, which at the heart is rooted in control and power. A professional is seen as someone who can take charge and solve your problems. Leave it to a professional, right? This means kick back, relax, and let the person who knows more take over. It implies a one-sided relationship where one more knowledgeable and trustworthy person is paid and the other receives a service, as opposed to a meaningful and lasting relationship of mutual trust and respect. Someone just last week said that she wanted to have a home birth for her first baby, but her husband said, 'Let's leave the first one to the professionals, and then next time you can do whatever you want.' Where to start? Let's start with a word that exists in relation to the word professional. Amateur. I believe that when we put midwives into the category of professional, we are inherently putting birthing people into the category of amateur. When we make ourselves available for hire so that women can leave it to us, quote unquote, we are entering into dangerous territory. This is not like calling a plumber as opposed to doing your own plumbing. The woman is not an amateur birther who needs a professional to do the job for her. Midwifery is something else entirely. Sometimes there are things to be done, or skills to be utilized, and surely, as the above quote notes, there is expertise to be had. For the vast majority of births, though, the actual birth process can be undertaken entirely by the mother, exceptions being a shoulder dystocia or a placenta that needs assistance birthing, etc. So long as she has the support she needs. You wouldn't hire a plumber to come sit, watch you do your own plumbing, and occasionally bring you spoonfuls of honey. In contrast, the obstetrician is very much a professional surgeon, and the birth should perhaps be left to them when a cesarean is required. I would argue, though, that if care during birth moves the direction that we here at IndieBirth would love it if we could see a deprofessionalization, is that a word, of obstetrical care and surgical birth as well. There are already moves in that direction with more family-centered cesareans and the like, but the hospital birth workers will have to release their epic amounts of anxiety, fear, control, and emotional sterility for meaningful change to happen. The words amateur and professional simply don't apply to the care that midwives provide. Unfortunately, the largest midwifery certification body in the U.S. chose to call their recipients Certified Professional Midwives, or CPMs. Perhaps I should start calling myself a UUM, an uncertified, unprofessional midwife. I understand the logic of the midwives that were a part of bringing certification and licensure about, but I can see that they were chasing the wrong goal. My guess is that they thought that by certifying themselves and deeming themselves as professional, that they would be able to enter into the modern maternity care system in a way they couldn't previously access. A more radical goal would have been to try to find a way to create new access to tools and knowledge, rather than trying to align ourselves to professional maternity services. As we now can see quite clearly, asking for a seat at the table has meant that we have been awarded the lowest place in the maternity care system, no matter how professional we may look, act, or seem. Someone might argue that professional to them just means being courteous, organized, honest, etc., in which case, yes, I am certainly professional, or I try to be. But I would also argue that those are just things that a typical kind human should be. For all these reasons and more, I am purposefully and extremely unprofessional in many ways, which my clients and I seem to prefer. I wear the same clothes to visits and births that I wear around my own house. #not fancy, as you can see here in my stretched out V-neck. Sometimes I'm running late because the mom with the previous appointment needed more time with me, or because I had a hard time getting out the door with my child attached to my leg. I don't do office visits, largely because I hate how professional offices can seem, so I see people in their own homes. I don't treat my midwifery communication differently than I treat any other type of communication. I text, I email, I send funny emojis when the mood strikes. I'm a regular human and don't pretend to be anything else. In fact, I think human is likely the opposite of professional, as I am defining it. I tell my clients about my family, my own struggles when appropriate. I apologize when I mess up and celebrate with them in times of joy. I eat my share of ice cream while I'm sitting between their legs, waiting for the placenta to be born. And in this instance, they had wanted me to be sitting there. I generally don't wear gloves or do other things that look more official, but make no difference to anyone's health or well-being. All of this encourages the sort of relationship that I want to cultivate with mamas and how I want them to perceive me and my care. So here is to being a UUM, or perhaps just an HM, a human midwife. So again, that was just a section from our new book, IndieBirth, A Story of Radical Birth Love. Some musings from us about what it means to be part of this birth revolution. Some of the sections, I guess I could say the titles of, that maybe that would be helpful. So the beginning, like I said, is a lot about Mirren's journey to becoming the midwife she is now. So the IndieBirth creation story, becoming a midwife, and then meeting me, the upheaval, how the licensing, and then handing in the license happened, some of her births, birth story of Rune, her 4th baby, birth story of True, her 6th baby, and then some more of the backstory. And then in the heart of Indie Birth, which is part 3, we have Where We Are Now, a bunch more birth stories, chapters on connection, birth and death, love not fear, intuition, respect, and the new paradigm, mixed in with a number of other birth stories as well. So I could show you that. Maybe it's backwards though, huh? Oh, yeah, it might be backwards. But you can probably see this on the Kindle. Oops, sorry, I keep wandering off here. On the Amazon Kindle page as well. And we're really proud of this work that we have created, and think it will be something that's really enjoyed by a lot of people. And we hope that you get a copy for yourself and maybe another copy to have in your library and pass around your community. So, again, if you've read it already, please go leave a review on the Amazon page. It would really help us out. The more momentum we can get sort of from the get-go, the better. And it'll show other people who are looking for birth and pregnancy information on Amazon who've never even heard of us. So that's our hope, is that this will help us kind of reach far beyond our usual circle of Indie Birth followers, even though we love all of you as well. And get the word out to more people than we've been able to get the word out to previously. So please go leave a review, share on your social media. Oh, Ellie asks, will you offer an audiobook of this sometime? That is a good question. We probably could make that happen. I know it's kind of a lengthy process, but yeah, I don't see why not. I'll add it to our list of things to do. Honestly, I don't think we've even talked about that, so thanks for asking. It's not a giant book. It's about 180 pages. And yeah, audiobooks are great, and yeah, we should totally do that. But also, the power of having a physical copy of this you can hand somebody is really cool too. Yeah, so yes to all of the above. And like I said, the Kindle version is currently available on Amazon. The physical version is not yet available, but will be very soon. So thank you all, and go leave a review. Thanks.